Welcome back to my kitchen, Real Women in Philadelphia. My name is Sarah, and today I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite dessert recipes with you. My recipe is really similar to one of the recipes that Anna's already shown us, her creamy lemon squares, except mine uses grapefruits instead, and it includes my family's recipe for lemon squares. I'm really happy to share this with you, and I'm happy that Anna showed us her creamy lemon square recipe so that I can make my grapefruit squares even better too. So my recipe came about one day when I was making my lemon squares, and I'd already packed up my shortbread crust and packed it into the oven, and then I thought, I'm out of lemons. What am I going to do? Luckily, my boyfriend loves grapefruits more than anything, so we always have an abundance in our house. So I pulled out one of his grapefruits and went to town. I haven't looked back since because my grapefruit squares were much better than my lemon squares. So the first thing for me to do before I even touch my grapefruits or my Philadelphia cream cheese is to get my shortbread crust ready. I have a cup of flour, a quarter cup of brown sugar, and half a cup of softened margarine or butter. So I'll just mix this up, and then I'm going to pat it into one of my springform pans. I have really cold hands, and I'm not even sure why they're so cold all the time. All I know is I touch someone and oh no, they jump up in shock. But if you don't have cold hands like me and you're going to be mixing up a crumb crust like I'm going to be doing, what you could be doing is run your hands under really cold water, or maybe stick your hands in an ice bath just before you begin, just so that you don't warm up your butter or your margarine too much, because you really want to have a really flaky, delicious crust. So I'll get my crust patted into the bottom of my springform pan, and then I'll slip it into the oven. So you can see how all of my butter has just formed with all of my flour and my sugar, and now it's into a lovely little crummy crust. So now it's time for me to pack it into the bottom of my springform pan. I'll just pat it down, careful not to touch it too much because even my cold hands will start to warm it up eventually. And now I'll slip it into an oven preheated to 350 degrees for 15 minutes. And while it's cooking, I'll get started on mixing up my creamy grapefruit filling. My shortbread crust is still in the oven, but I'm going to get my delicious grapefruit cream cheese mixture all set. So I'm just going to add everything that's going to be in my grapefruit cream cheese mixture into the same bowl that I made my shortbread crust in, just because I use a little bit of flour for thickening it anyway, so why not save myself a dish? So I have 1 cup of white granulated sugar, I have half a teaspoon of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of flour. So now I'll add in half a package of softened Philadelphia light cream cheese, and then I'm going to beat in 2 eggs. So I'll just beat that together, and then it's time to get my grapefruit rind and juice all mixed in. Did you know that grapefruits got their name because of the way they grow on trees? They grow in little clusters, just like grapes, all over the top of the trees. So from far away, they kind of look like little bunches of grapes on the trees, just yellow and actually pretty big. So I've taken just the zest off the outside of a whole grapefruit, only the thin yellow layer. I don't want any of the bitter white part. And now I've just cut my grapefruit into 2/3 and 1/3. I'm going to save this 2/3 section for my breakfast tomorrow and juice this 1/3 section of a grapefruit into my creamy grapefruit squares. And that's just because I need about 3 tablespoons of grapefruit juice. So I'll juice my grapefruit into my creamy grapefruit square mixture, stir it all together, and probably by that time my shortbread crust will be out of the oven. My creamy grapefruit mixture is all set, and my shortbread crust came out of the oven right on schedule. So I'll pour this bowl of creamy grapefruit mixture onto my shortbread crust and get my pan into the oven to bake for another 30 minutes. Hi Real Women of Philadelphia, I've just slipped my creamy grapefruit squares into the oven, and while we wait for them to bake, I thought I'd show you a few clips about my journey and how I got here. I've filmed about 25 videos so far, and I still have plans for more. but it hasn't always been a smooth ride, and I'd like to show you some of the rockier bits. Welcome back to my kitchen reel, ladies. Oh, I said it wrong. Hi, ladies. Well, oh, I don't want my glasses. My Philadelphia cream cheese, light chive and onion flavor, chicken stock. There's too much steam. Okay. So now my favorite part, taking a taste. Oh, I'm not done. And now I have about half a cup, a quarter cup to a half a cup. And now I'm going to Lucas. And what could be better than a Philly cheese steak. I got it wrong. So there are a few different types of taste that we all know about. Sweet, sour, bitter. What is the other one? Which you might have seen the video from my show. That's so lame. They're a little burned. I'd rather you not film that. Yum. Oh, I spilled. I've already cooked a half a cup of short grain white rice. I don't know if you know, but white chocolate chips, technically, they're not any part of chocolate at all. You need to have Are you okay, honey? Okay. It's all mixed in. And now I'm going to add my carrots. I just took a couple carrots. This is too bright. You can see it's gelled, and that's because I've made my own turkey broth out of bones. Is that good?
No. What is this, a graveyard?
Mmm. 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 It hasn't always been I forget. My creamy grapefruit squares have come out of the oven and they're looking great. I can tell they're done because there's little bubbles forming on top and the edges are a little bit brown and crispy. So now I'll get my dessert out of my springform pan and then it'll be ready to taste. So I've let my creamy grapefruit squares cool for just a few minutes and now it's time to serve one. Mmm. You can see the creamy texture of the top layer and the crispy, delicious looking bottom layer. Mmm, I can't wait to take a bite. So I have a little bit of icing sugar and one of my loose leaf tea strainers, and I'm just gonna get a little bit on top of my dessert. So now it's time to have a taste. Anna, I haven't tried your creamy lemon squares yet, but if they're anywhere as good as these, I'm going to be saving your recipe as well as my own. Thanks for watching and have a great day.